George Clooney and Brad Pitt's new movie, Wolves, is on Apple TV Plus September 27th.
That's where I want you to be now.
So if you want to see George Clooney and Brad Pitt, go to Apple TV Plus.
You got to start the story there.
Or if you want to see Brad Pitt and George Clooney, go to Apple TV Plus.
I am enjoying the show.
And if you want to see their new movie, Wolves,
You can't do it, I'm going to help you out. I can do it, so do it.
definitely go to Apple TV Plus.
Admit it, it's cool. Okay, fine, it was very cool.
Wolves, streaming September 27th on Apple TV Plus. Rated R.
When it comes to towing, seeing is believing. That's why Chevy Truck's advanced camera technology offers up to 8 available cameras for 14 unique views, so you can focus on the view that really matters. Chevrolet, together let's drive. Learn more about Chevy Trucks at Chevy.com. Safety or driver assistance features are no substitute for the driver's responsibility to operate the vehicle in a safe manner. Read the Vehicle Owner's Manual for important feature limitations and information.
This episode is brought to you by Microsoft Azure. Turn your ideas into reality with an Azure free account. Get everything you need to develop apps across cloud and hybrid environments, scale workloads, create cloud-connected mobile experiences, and so much more. Discover what you can create with popular services free for 12 months. Learn more at azure.com. That's AZURE.com. And sign up for a free account to start building in the cloud today.
City leave it late to get a point against title rivals Arsenal. It was a bit of a feisty encounter, that one. The Portuguese side gets hammered by Chelsea. Ten Hag's United, all huff and all puff, but no end product. Diaz and Co dazzle at Anfield. Spurs get on to winning ways again. And Newcastle's form finally catching up with them. All this and more on the Final Whistle podcast. Welcome, guys, to Game Week 5. Plenty of talking points, plenty of exciting encounters, and it's the same old on this podcast. I'm delighted to be joined by my co-host, Ben. Ben, welcome back.
Yeah, it's good to be back. Good weekend of football again. Couple of weeks on the bounce now. We've had plenty to talk about, so should be good to get straight into it.
Yeah, let's talk about the game that's just fresh in our minds, and we are, of course, talking about Manchester City 2 and Arsenal 2. Oh my, so much going on in this one. It was a really strange game. It was very feisty. It feels like a new rivalry is brewing up between these two sides.
Yeah, it reminds us a little bit of like Man City and Liverpool. Like, obviously Liverpool not falling off, obviously not, but like Arsenal are really a team pushing Man City at the minute, and it seems like that's the main rivalry, and it's starting to get that personal sort of feistiness about it that's kind of been lacking. It's been a bit respectful, Arteta and Guardiola and all that, but I really enjoyed watching the game, actually. It was really, really fascinating to watch.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of went as you would kind of be, how it'd be scripted, early goal by Erling Haaland, took it really well, actually. I think, for me, the concerning and potentially the turning point in the whole game was the Rodri potential, I think, knee injury, is it? And obviously Kovacic comes on for him.
Yeah. It doesn't look good at all because, Rodri's not the kind of person, like, he must be injured to go off. Like,
yeah,
he looked devastated as well. They looked really, really bad for City. So it'll be interesting to see how they do with that one, because obviously it was about this time last year that I think he was missing through suspension and they didn't win any of the games. So it'll be really interesting to see how they deal with that. And obviously Arsenal capitalised on it and just couldn't hold on in the end.
Speaking of capitalising, go there then, that absolute stunning goal by Calafiori. I mean, when a defender can do that, like my jaw literally hit the floor on that one. But and then obviously shortly after, another defender, another set piece for Arsenal, and Gabriel scores. But I think the man and the talking point here was probably Kyle Walker in both of them.
The video of him marking Gabriel.
Oh God, playing tag with him.
Yeah, it made us cringe a little bit watching that. I mean, the first one, he's complaining to the referee that the free kick's been took too quickly and he's not in position.
Yeah.
But he's literally in line with the rest of the Man City defence anyway. If he goes any further, but he's playing everyone onside. I didn't see anything wrong with the first one. Then obviously it's a great finish from Calafiori, really, really good goal. And yeah, that video of Walker, marking's probably the wrong word to use, but attempting to mark Gabriel, it did tickle me a little bit.
Daydreaming, wasn't he? I was absolutely shocked. I mean, like, I mean, I don't know what was said at halftime to him, but he must have got an earful because as he was leaving, he was like kind of like lamenting himself, and he knew exactly what he'd done or not done, should I say? But yeah, it was proper falling asleep stuff from them, and it kind of, to some degree, reminds me of like the Gabriel goal that he scored against Spurs last weekend. You know, again where the defenders obviously weren't as switched off as that, but nobody really picking him up. But you know, again. What an advantage for Arsenal, but then obviously the sending off. I mean, the double yellow for Trossard. There was a lot of talk in the studio about, was it a yellow? Should it have been a yellow? I mean, for me, if he sort of like throws the ball away in descent, which we've been seeing a lot, it's a straight, it's a yellow, which means for him it's a double yellow, which means it's a red. I don't see no problem with that.
No, definitely not. And you would think Arsenal, out of all teams, would know that after the whole Declan Rice situation. But I think he's walking off and Arteta's giving him a big hug and really like sympathising with him. I think it's just stupid. I think it's absolutely stupid.
It was stupid. And like, even like Ben, when you think about it as well, like you're on the winning side. Like if I saw that perpetulance from like say a City player, I kind of get the frustration, you know, like you're on the losing end of things. But it was completely a brain fart moment, but obviously it's half time then. And I don't know about you, Ben, but I'm watching, I'm waiting for the second half, and I'm thinking this is where like Man City are going to tear them apart. The one man advantage is really going to come through for them. And to be fair, I mean, if we just talk about the second half as a whole, yes, this had a lot of the ball. They had a lot of possession. It was basically, I'd say Arsenal just basically holding on for dear life. But I also, at the same time, feel that Man City were a little bit too, I don't know, it felt a little rushed. It felt lackluster.
Yeah, like if there's any team you would back in that situation where it's like, it was almost like attack versus defence. It was like a training drill. If there's any team you would back on, that would be Man City. But it was just falling all the wrong people. I mean, I think Kyle Walker had 3 or 4 shots. I think Ruben Diaz had 3 or 4 shots all from the edge of the box. And you're just kind of waiting for someone like, you know, Gundogan or I know Foden came on to just come short and let them have a go. I don't know why. It clearly wasn't working. They were just doing the same thing over and over again. And it did look like they weren't going to get through, but obviously they did in the end, and Arsenal will be kicking themselves after all that. But it was a really fascinating watch the second half. I don't think Arsenal done well, but in the end, not for nothing, obviously a point, 10 men, they would have probably told it at the start of the game if they were told they were down to 10 men, but really frustrating for them in the end.
Yeah, that was actually going to be my next question to you, actually. Which team comes out more relieved and delighted with that? And I guess you're right. Before the game, I think Arsenal take that all day, every day. But at the end, like, they're probably so bitterly disappointed with the way they kind of defended. I did think they held the defensive shape quite well and kind of frustrated Man City a fair bit. And, you know, even forced them to take, like, long-range shots and things. So, yeah. And I think before the game, you know, Pep Guardiola and City are probably thinking, you know, we should win this game. And as that game's going, and we've been there as well, Ben, where, you know, you know, and then you're in that situation, you're like, you know what, I will actually take a point here because it's better than actually losing. So yeah, early doors, but do you think the title run is between these two?
It's a tough one because I'm really impressed with Liverpool, but the Forest game, you struggle to see either of those two teams losing at home to Forest. So I think that when we'll really know whether Liverpool's involved in it, I guess would be when they come up against City or Arsenal. But until then, I would still say it's between the two of them for the title. And I am really impressed with Arsenal, to be fair.
Yeah. They seem to defend really well, and they have so many attacking players as well. Let's see how things go. And yeah, on the slot, we'll talk about Liverpool when we get to Liverpool. Right, okay, Ben. Let's move on to somebody else. Let's move to a 3:00 kickoff. Let's talk about Aston Villa and Wolves. Oh, you know what, Wolves? Get the early goal with Cunha. I actually feel really bad for them.
Yeah, it is tough to see. I mean, Gary O'Neill's stock's just dropping by the game at the minute, isn't it? I mean,
bottom of the table, right?
Yeah, I think is it 1 point from 5. And we're looking at a few months ago. I don't know if you remember when it was reported that Liverpool had interviewed him for the job,
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah, and now we're looking at, I think we've dodged a bullet on that one. I mean, look, it's you don't want to rush in 5 games and say, the doomed or anything like that, but it's really not looking good. I mean,
Aston Villa.
Yeah, Aston Villa were really impressive. Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought, obviously, the first half looked like, Wolves were trying to dominate or were dominating. I just felt like maybe Aston Villa were kind of dealing with the fact that, they played, Champions League football. They were quite impressive against young boys. They won quite convincingly away. And, they left it in the second half, but Watkins with a goal, Konza and Duran just coming on as a sub and scoring. I just feel like Wolves, it's looking tough for them. They've also had a tough run in as well, and we should acknowledge that as well. But Aston Villa, I mean, I guess a lot of concerns that people have when a team makes top 4, and we saw this with Newcastle, didn't we? When a team makes Champions League football and they have to manage the league and and domestic cups as well. How do you think Aston Villa have got enough quality there to kind of maybe have a nice balance of everything?
Yeah, well, to be fair, I've got to hold my hands up because at the start of the season, I thought, not that they'd struggle, but I didn't think they would get top 4 again. I thought maybe, like a 6th, similar to Newcastle. But I think they'll get top 4, actually. I'm really impressed with the quality. You've seen the likes of Tielemans stepping up. Onan has hit the ground running. Watkins is finding form again, which is crucial. And Duran's just a completely different everything just seems to be taken into place for them. I'm really impressed with them. And obviously with Emery as the head coach, they've got every chance of grinding out results the way they are. But yeah, with Wolves, it's a bit similar sort of to Everton. I know we'll get on to Everton in a bit, but like the performances aren't woeful, but they're just not grinding out the results. And I will give praise or credit where it's due. I thought Cunha and Nuri were both pretty solid. I think they're both. It sounds harsh, but I think they're both too good for Wolves. I don't think they'll be there next season.
I think you're right, I absolutely think you're right. And it is actually quite sad to see. Right, let's speak about another 3 o'clock. Fulham 3, Newcastle 1. That bad form finally catching up in a result. Talk to me about this one.
Yeah, it was. I mean, Fulham were really good as well. But Newcastle, like you said, I mean, the poor performances, they've been coming regularly, and it was sort of like only a matter of time before this sort of result was coming. And I was actually telling one of my mates who's a Newcastle fan, he was saying, and to be fair, there's not just him, I've seen a lot of Newcastle fans saying this, that Eddie Howe's taking them as far as what he can. And it is sad to see, because I really rate Eddie Howe, but I do kind of agree. I think they are really struggling, and I do think he got his lineup wrong again. I mean, I know he brought Harvey Barnes in, but still Tonali on the bench. I don't really get that. Yeah, I think he could come under some serious pressure. Like I say, there is genuinely Newcastle fans who are starting to lean towards maybe getting a new manager in, which is really sad to see.
It really is, and we'll talk about that in a second. But Jimenez, it's really nice to see him getting the goals again. Obviously he gets a goal again. Smith Rowe also getting a goal, looking like a good signing for Fulham. It's nice that there's a lot of creative players and there's a lot of supporting acts around the strikers in Fulham. And I feel like just adding more. I mean, Iwobi had a really good game. Traore was a bit more lively in this one. So things are looking quiet, and obviously Nelson scoring in deep in injury time. For me, the most alarming thing was they were 2-0 up, and then as soon as the second half starts, Newcastle score, and they just didn't build on it.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really concerning thing, because when you concede so early in the half and you've actually scored that goal in Newcastle case, do you think there'd be a little bit of a momentum shift or something swinging in your way? And it just didn't quite happen. Yeah.
Yeah, really frustrating for Newcastle. But I mean, I said it last week on the podcast, I think, about Anthony Gordon not hitting the heights, and he's really struggling at the minute. I've seen a few Newcastle fans really, really giving him some stick. Isaac as well, just there's something not clicking. And yeah, I mean, Harvey Barnes is spectacular again, by the way.
Yes.
So that is the one shining light for Newcastle again, but they'll be bitterly disappointed. And I mean, they're still sitting pretty high up in the table, but like we say, performances haven't been good enough, and there is only so much results can do. You can't just keep on grinding out results with poor performances, and Fulham definitely capitalised. And another thing, I'm not selling myself very well here, but I also did criticise Wolby and Traore at the start of the season. I didn't think they'd be prolific enough, but I mean, especially Traore definitely proved me wrong. So things are starting to look better for Fulham.
Well, you're so modest and humble. It is a long season, yeah. I will give you a little bit of confidence. Anything can happen, but yeah, they have. They seem to have really, really found their rhythm and their feet in this 5 games or so. But
the draw looks sensational.
Yeah, let's move on to a draw. Like, come on then, let's talk about it. Leicester and Everton finally getting some points on the board.
Yeah, it was two poor sides in my opinion. I know I don't like to say, go in on teams, but it's one of those results that doesn't really help either team. Everton are definitely starting to look better, though. I will give them that. They are starting performance-wise. I know people are throwing the fact they're chucking it away, but they are getting themselves in those positions in the first place. So something is going right. And I mean, they were ahead again yesterday, and they couldn't hold on. I think that's 8 points dropped in 3 games. So
there's logic. There's logic. They just kept it to 1, which means like they'll get. They didn't go for 2.
Yeah, probably for the best.
Although there wasn't a Pickford howler in the first half where you're almost like, I don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, where he falls into the post, doesn't he?
Yes.
He looks really shaky. Do you not think, in the first few weeks, I've seen a few Everton fans criticising him. I mean, I was argue if I was an Everton fan because, I mean, he's pretty much kept them in the league over the past couple of seasons, but he does look really shaky over the last couple of weeks, definitely.
He does, absolutely. I completely agree with you there. And I think for them, Everton, Njay, however you pronounce it, he obviously the goal scorer, had a really decent game for them. But you're right, they are certainly looking better. And then Leicester at the end, towards the end, like 73 minutes, I can't even say Mavdidi. Me and Guy Grinkle have this on Euro Incision. It's like a competition of who can butcher the most names. I win. I'm a champion in my own right. But it was a scrappy goal that won it. I mean, that got them the point in the end from that corner. I just felt like everyone was just everywhere. Just a scrappy goal.
Yeah. It's definitely one of those where, I mean, Everton, it's not a great result, but I guess it's kind of just stopped the rot for Everton at the minute. And Leicester, to be fair, I think it's at both their first points, isn't it? So
yeah.
Well, Leicester drew
Leicester drew to Spurs, didn't they? They drew to Spurs, yeah.
Spurs, yeah. So Leicester will be looking to kick on, but for Everton, I think, yes, it's not great, going ahead, but it is a step in the right direction. But if you want to stay up, you do need to beat the other teams around you.
You do indeed. Right, let's move on to the other 2 promoted sides. Southampton 1, Ipswich 1. Goals by Dibbling and Morsey right at the end, breaking hearts. I mean, I feel so bad for Southampton. So they score in 5 minutes. The youngster, the bright youngster, scores. Adam Lallana assists. It's like youth and experience linking up nicely with Southampton. You'd think they're almost done it. They've almost, because obviously they won in the League Cup as well.
Yeah.
Yes, maybe this is the shift for them. And then right at the end, I mean, it took a wicked deflection, but just heartbreak.
Yeah. It's really frustrating. Southampton, that could have kickstarted. We'll give them that because they've been awful defensively lately, and they were the same against Everton, a bit better. But yeah, again, it's one of those where the result doesn't really help either of them. But the people didn't really think Ipswich were capable of, and the confidence and quality for Ipswich will only grow as they go into the season. So I don't think it's a bad start for Ipswich at all.
No, it's not. Yeah, things are looking good for Ipswich, and I was actually a bit shocked when they were losing. So yeah, they got a point there. Let's move on to the 12:30 kickoff. West Ham 0, Chelsea 3. I mean, Chelsea are just looking so quietly good, and we'll talk about 2 goals from Jackson there, and Cole Palmer. West Ham. You know what? To me, when this game started, with all the quality that West Ham have, I thought this would be a lot closer. It felt very much quite the opposite. I was absolutely shocked at how pedestrian West Ham were. and how just lackluster they were for the second and third goal. The way how easily Chelsea just worked that ball, and they had all the time in the world to do it.
Yeah, it was really, really lackluster from West Ham. I did say at the start of the season, I thought West Ham might underperform this season. We spent loads of money, and I'm not a massive fan of Lopetegui. I don't think he's much better than what they already had in Moyes. Quite slow playing. I don't think that suits the way West Ham want to play with the likes of Kudus and Bowen. They were really poor yesterday. But again, take nothing away from Chelsea. They were really impressive. Jackson looks like a completely different player. And Palmer was just as good as he always is. But Chelsea looking really promising at the minute. So I'm always quick to criticise Chelsea, but you got to give them credit where it's due as well.
I guess the talking or controversial point, was the penalty shot from Somerville, but that by Fofana, and VAR didn't feel it was necessary to intervene, which I found very bizarre.
It's a tricky one, isn't it? Because it's one of those where I think if he holds on for just a couple of seconds, he lets go at just the right time, and I don't think the way Somerville chucks himself helps either. But I do get why West Ham would be a bit aggrieved by that. You can't just grab hold of someone's arm as they were in the box and, expect to get away with it, but clearly you can if you're Chelsea, so...
Yeah, evidently. Chelsea are quietly just looking good, aren't they? I mean, obviously they lost the open game, but they've just got so much quality and so much strength in that team, and you should think so too, with the amount that they spent. Yeah, they are looking very good, and again, I obviously I know they've got the is it the Europa Conference League? I know they're in that, but I think they might be ones to watch in the league. You think so? Yeah,
especially based on the draw. I think they're going to afford to rotate quite heavily. I mean, they definitely have the amount of players to rotate. I think they could name a completely 22-man squad for each game. But I'm pretty sure drawing against teams like there's a team called Noah. I didn't even know that existed, I'll be honest.
Wow.
Yeah. I haven't heard of them. So, I think the draw will be pretty pleasant for them as well, which will help. But like I say, they are looking promising. Palmer looking really sharp, and they've still got the likes of Nkunku and Sancho to really get up to speed as well. So, it's looking promising for them.
It is, absolutely. And Jackson's obviously finding his form as well this season. Let's talk about Crystal Palace 0, Manchester United 0. Rashford was benched because I think a lot of people expected him to start because he did so well against Southampton. Dean Henderson had a point to prove, and I think he had some really good. He saved some good shots and blocks there. United were very, very, attacking. So much of the ball, and you saw that chance by Garnacho where it hit the crossbar. It was almost like United were pretty much all puff, no end product, and in the last 20 minutes, I felt like maybe it was Crystal Palace who looked more likely to score. I mean, Eze had that chance. For me, I feel like United walked away from that really frustrated.
But Crystal Palace did look most likely to score towards the end. Man United were kind of hanging on. I did find a way that Rashford was benched, but United came close in the first half, so probably a draw, probably a fair reflection on the whole of the game, but Man United did look strong defensively, I'll give them that. So, and so did Crystal Palace, which I think is something that's been lacking from their game as well.
Yeah, I guess we should kind of highlight what was Martinez trying to do. I mean, like stamping was he trying to stamp into a tackle? I have no idea what he was doing. He was like a kid trying to jump into a puddle. I know he's tall enough, but come on. I know he's got the height requirements, but I just found that really bizarre. Would have heard something.
That's the exact word I was about to use, bizarre. It's just, I can't remember seeing anything like it. It was one of those where it's just so stupid because the intent, like people say there's intent there, but if there was intent there, it could have, he could have really made contact. It's almost as if you went in to like intimidate the player and then like tailed out halfway through. I don't know. It did make me giggle, but I don't really know how he got away with it, to be fair. You just can't do that in football.
Yeah, I think there should be a rule for intention because he was intending to be dangerous there. But I did find it incredibly strange. Right, we'll move on there. So you think a draw is a fair result. Let's speak of another draw. Brighton 2, Nottingham Forest 2, still unbeaten, Ben. Talk to me about this one. Again, another little feisty encounter. Gibbs gets sent off, Wood with the penalty. And then just before half-time, Hinshelwood gets the goal and Welbeck with a stunning free kick. I didn't know he had that in his locker. And Sosa scoring on 70th minute. And also Newcastle's manager... Nottingham Forest manager, Nunes, also gets a red as well. So quite a feisty encounter. Felt like Brighton, certainly in the second half. In the first half, they had a lot of the ball, just didn't do anything with it. Second half, looked more on it, looked more engaging. But it just felt like the chances just looked better for Nottingham Forest as and when they came, which were very, very slim, by the way.
Yeah, it was a brilliant game. I really enjoyed watching Brighton, to be fair. They're one of those teams where they're brilliant on the ball, the press, and they create loads of chances, but they're also really shaky at the back, so you'd never really know what to expect when it comes to watching Brighton games. But yeah, I thought Brighton, like you said, they had a lot of the ball, 70% possession, but they just couldn't really break Forest down. And as a Liverpool fan, I don't know how that feels, but at least they did score. The second half was really frustrating for them, but fair play to Forest, pick them off on the counter for that second goal, and then obviously it all kicks off with the Gibbs White sending off. But yeah, really entertaining game, and both teams were really good in fairness.
They did, yeah. Nottingham Forest unbeaten. Who would have thought I'd be saying such things? But here we are. Right, let's go on to the next game. Tottenham 3, Brentford 1. Wissa out injured. That's a huge blow for them. But Mbeumo getting a goal within like a minute. It was brilliant, by the way. Stunning. Solanke equalising on 8 minutes, getting his first goal for Spurs. I feel like that'll be a huge relief for him, won't it?
Yeah, huge. We spoke about it last week where I was saying, the time was kind of ticking where, the strikers are longer, you go without scoring. Confidence is huge for a forward, and that first goal mean a lot to him, and hopefully he can kick on now. And it wasn't just him. Son and Maddison looked so much better yesterday. The whole synergy of the side looked really good. And yeah, like you say, Mbeumo's goal in the first minute was just really, really good. I'm really impressed by Mbeumo. He's another one who I think could make a move next summer. But crucial win for Spurs. The pressure's been on and really a lot lately. But to be fair, I was listening to Talksport on the way back from the game yesterday, and there was still Tottenham fans who seemed a bit sceptical and, not on board with the whole thing and just trying to put in place. So it'd be interesting to see how they do in the next few games and how the atmosphere around the club changes as well.
Indeed, and let's talk about the Spurs man that got the second goal. He had a lot of criticism. I believe he had to delete his social media accounts or Instagram account because he's been getting a lot of abuse. Johnson making it 2-1. I was personally delighted for him on that regard. That's disgusting, but it is what it is. And then Maddison making it 3-1, clinical finish, lifts it over the keeper. Lovely stuff by Spurs overall, in my opinion.
Yeah, they look much better yesterday. A lot more free flow, and that's the sort of football that we've become used to seeing under Ange, and that's kind of been missing all the last few weeks. So it's definitely good for them to be playing with some freedom again. And yeah, like I say, hopefully they can kick on from it and start making strides towards the top end of the table.
Indeed, right. I'm going to put you out your misery now. Left you last. Liverpool 3, Bournemouth 0. I wanted to call you a jinx, but you're not a jinx because you were there again, weren't you, Ben?
I was, yeah, right behind the goal for all 3 goals. Liverpool were brilliant.
Why don't you tell the listeners where you were featured on Match of the Day, little celebrity among them?
Oh, yeah. If you just pause as Darwin Núñez kills his goal in the far corner, you can just see me in the background there. My mouth wide open. I don't know whether I was just gobsmacked by what Núñez had just done or whether I was mid-shout. Probably more likely to be the first one, to be honest. But yeah, it was a really good day, really good game to watch.
Which one did you personally enjoy the most? Because all 3 were really good goals, in my opinion, for different reasons. Which one were you just like, I'm assuming it was the Núñez one because, Match of the Day caught you there, but go on. Yeah,
it probably was the Núñez one. Not just for that reason, though. Yeah, he's had a lot of stick lately about how he's going to fit in under Arne Slot, and he came in yesterday, first start, and he looked really good, winning the ball back, and that finish on his weak foot to even have the audacity to even try that when you've got Diaz and Salah running alongside and fair play. And to be honest, when he first shot, maybe that's what I was saying. Me and my neighbour we were like, why is he shot from there? But a great effort. And the first Diaz one as well is up there as well, because that's really funny. I don't know what Kepa's doing on that front now outside his box.
Yeah.
That was quite funny as well. He was getting quite a bit of a stick, but yeah, Liverpool.
Megs him for the second one. Megs him.
Yeah, he should do better on the second one as well. You know, if you're going to come out, you need to make yourself big and not just do a knee slide. And Diaz was really taking the nick yesterday. He's brilliant.
I mean, I don't know about you, Ben. You know, when match day, the whole vibe, and when the team sheets announced and things like before this game, I was fully expecting maybe Gakpo to start this one because he was so impressive against AC Milan. So, I mean, like, what do you make of like Slot's boldness with regards to, yeah, you played well, but I'm going to put you on the bench and I'm going to start somebody completely, Nunes, who's had, bit parts, should we say, but not really found the form and feet. So, I mean, what did you make of that?
Yeah, I think it's, I quite like it. I think him and the players all seem to be on board with this whole idea that, it's a long season and the opportunities will come, just, you might not get a run of games, but obviously, you've just got to take those opportunities when you come. There's plenty of time across the season. I'm sure Gakpo will get a strong run of games at some point. It's very early to sort of read into who's in his plans more than others and so on. But yeah, I mean, Gakpo was really good midweek, and I'm sure he'll be starting during the week again and be looking to push further towards the starting lineup once again.
Yeah, and I guess from the performance as well, Ben, like just my thoughts on this, I kind of liked the fact that chances came and they were well-worked goals and we weren't wasteful. And I loved that about us, and I loved that about the attack. They were just like gorgeous balls being played, and just the vision and the smartness from, be it our right back in Trent or Konate or, Mo Salah linking up with his fellow striker. But they were just well-worked goals. And I like that a lot about just this Liverpool team in general. We don't really do scrappy goals. And even when we have like gorgeous build-up plays, sometimes I find that the final end product can be quite rushed, or the ball's not quite there, or we're wasteful, or we're selfish, and we make the wrong decision. This was all wonderful, and to put your, and again, the Luis Diaz goals, they came in quick succession, which kind of puts a bit of light between you and this Bournemouth side, who we know are a very, very attacking, creative side. Yeah,
it seems a lot more measured, a lot more controlling, and another big difference that we're seeing on the start is the defence as well. I mean, Van Dijk and Konate have been absolute colossal in the first few weeks, and then you've still got the creativity and offensive ability of the fullbacks, but they're also getting back quick and getting in position. I thought Trent was magnificent defensively as well. So I think the main thing that won the game for Liverpool yesterday was in midfield. I thought Bournemouth were really brave, and they definitely done well second half, but I do think their midfield lets them down a little bit. Their squad, it seems like they've improved every position except the midfield, and I'm just not sure whether a midfield of Lewis Cook and Ryan Christie away at Anfield was ever really going to work, in all honesty.
I think that's a fair assessment. I would say that's pretty fair. But yeah, I'd agree with you. I think the midfield played really well. I am just in love with McAllister. I feel like I appreciated him last season, but this season I just feel like, I don't know, he just looks so much more better and settled.
Yeah, and he's kind of going under the radar as well, because, you got Gravenberch and Szoboszlai who look so much better than what they did last season. They're kind of getting a lot of the plaudits, and I do kind of feel like McAllister is going under the radar a little bit, but yeah, he was brilliant yesterday. The amount of tackles he wins, and for a player his size, you'd look at him and you'd think he's a bit of a, he is brilliantly technically, but the amount of tackles and duels that he wins is mental for a player his size. And I think him and Gravenberch are really starting to form a really good partnership at the base of the midfield, and that allows Szoboszlai to go forward. And if there's one thing I would criticise Szoboszlai for, is still his decision making, but I think that will come, and I think that's something that Slot's mentioned in his press conferences. So that's definitely something that he'll be looking to improve on. And yeah, I think he'd struggle to find a player who hasn't improved drastically under Slot already. So that's definitely a good sign.
Yeah, great to see Nebo Chiesa come on as well. And a shout out to Kelleher for keeping a clean sheet. Not that I expect anything less from him. I know it sounds really weird. Alisson Becker is Alisson Becker and he is phenomenal. But I do like a lot about our second choice keeper.
Yeah, it was brilliant yesterday. He made some brilliant saves. That one where it comes off the crossbar and then onto Trent and he gets our way. That was right in front of me. And, you know, I was sat in the second row, and when you're in line with the pitch, you really notice the pace and the speed of the players. And yeah, it does open your eyes to how incredibly talented all these players are. But yeah, on the baller side, I don't think there's too much to worry about. It was just sort of outclassed on the day, but they looked so much more, you know, set to a system but still expressive at the same time. Yeah, I think they'll have a really good season still. I'm really impressed with them. And second half, they were really good. In fairness to them, I know people say Liverpool took the foot off the gas a little bit, but I thought Bournemouth, despite the scoreline, was still reasonably good.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with you. Their heads didn't drop at all. And you know what, listeners? He's just given his location away. Second row behind the goal. You know what you're looking at.
I won't be there every week, so it's fine.
You just told on yourself. Well, Ben, I think we're done now for this week. Any final takeaways? Anything you kind of want to get off your chest? Because this is like the pod where we get closure on football for the week.
No, I don't think there is. Actually, there is one thing that's been bugging me for a little while, actually. I don't know if you remember, we spoke the other week about, you know, I don't want to go in on referees too much, but so about referees kind of making the game about themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a TikTok the other day of, was it Mike Dean building his dream referee of current Premier League referees? Like, you know, like Speed was Michael Oliver and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it just really made me laugh. It was like, what has the game come to where referees are building their dream referee on Sky Sports?
Kind of reminds me of Build Your Own Bear. You know, I'm really, really intrigued now. I'm going to have to go on and said TikTok and find...
Yeah, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, but I'd forgot about it. And then just when you asked about whether I need to get anything off my chest, that did annoy me. So I'll get that off my chest.
Yeah, so, right. Okay, well, I'm glad you got that off your chest, and I'm going to go and check that out. But guys, that was us on the Final Whistle podcast. Thank you so much for listening. We really enjoyed hosting it. Hope you enjoyed listening to it. A huge thank you to Ben, as always. Ben, you're a busy guy. Let people know what you're up to and where can they find you on social media.
Yeah, so all my sort of stuff will be on my Twitter page or X page. At Ben Pescott Journal, you'll see all my articles shared on there, any sort of podcasts that I do, and all my work for EPL Index for those Liverpool fans and EPL Index for the rest of the Premier League, and that's where all my work goes on to, so that's probably the best place to find it all.
Wonderful stuff. You give him a follow, check out his work. He's a busy little bee. Guys, that's it from us. Thank you so much for listening. Take care, and we will catch you in the next episode. Bye.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.